What's up, guys? Welcome to another Marvel Universe Toyline review. Here we'll be reviewing Magneto. So this guy is number 26 in Series 3, and he does come with his own stand that says Magneto 26. But I gotta be honest and say that this guy, or this figure I should say, is a disappointment for me. I'm not too thrilled with the way this figure came out, so I'll get to that in a minute. First, let me show you guys the box art. That's Ed McGuinness artwork. Too bad they did some really kick-ass artwork for a not-so-kick-ass figure. And there's the lettering, Magneto with a purple background. Then the back, there it is, Series 3, number 26. There's a picture of Magneto, then there's the bio. Let me zoom in real quick. If you want to pause and read, go ahead. Then there's the other three figures in the wave: Tony Stark, Iron Man, Astonishing Wolverine, and Absorbing Man. Then there's Steve Rogers telling you to collect them all. So that's the box art. Now onto the figure itself. We'll start off with the paint apps. Paint apps on the jumpsuit itself, not bad at all. I actually think that the Ultimates costume is just a really badass costume. And I like how the purple came out here, especially that it's got that dark shading in the creases and wrinkles throughout the jumpsuit. Very well done. I've got no complaints with that. I actually love how that came out. And they gave it a glossy finish as well, so really cool with that. And then I love how the boots are just a solid black, and they're not glossy at all, not like the jumpsuit, so I like the contrast there. The next color would be the magenta, which is on his cape. It's got absolutely no shading to it whatsoever. I love the color on this cape. I think it's really cool. The cape is a piece of crap, but I'll get to that in a minute. And then he does come with the exact same belt. Let me zoom in here. And I'm sorry that I'm zooming into his crotch area, but he does come with the exact same belt that they included with the AIM Soldier figure. I don't know what that belt is for. I don't know what it symbolizes or what it can do, or unless Hasbro just reused an accessory just for the hell of it. I don't know, but if you have any info on that and you want to tell me, please do. So we'll zoom into his head sculpt now. This is where it gets really sloppy, and this is where they screwed up. I mean, the helmet's all right. I love how how it came out, the sculpture on the forehead, and I like the magenta trimming. But then the actual face itself, you'll notice that they gave it the gray shading on his face, and it looks absolutely horrible. I mean, I, along with a huge number of other collectors, would have preferred that Hasbro just kept it a standard flesh tone. But I give Hasbro credit, I mean, for trying something different. And I know that's how he's drawn many times in the comics, with the shading on his face. But when you do the shading on his face, then you're not allowing for more detail on his face, if you know what I mean. When you add that, you're not leaving room for much more. And besides that, he just looks ugly. And also, if you'll notice, I mean, I've got him under some direct light here, and he's still got the shading on his face. It's like, what the hell? What's up with that? So I don't like the way the face came out. The eyes are alright. They're baby blue. They contrast a lot with the gray, so they pop out. I give him credit for that. That came out pretty nice. But then just the shading on his face is one of the biggest reasons why this figure is just a letdown, a huge letdown for me. So there you go with that. For paint apps, I'm going to give this guy a 6 out of 10. I love the colors on the body, but then the head sculpt is where I think they really screwed up, and he's got an ugly face. So yeah, it's a 6 out of 10 on paint apps for that reason. Now onto his articulation. His head rotates all the way around. It's also got a hinge. It goes down and back up, although it might require a little bit of strength because he's got a collar. And then he's got the ball joint arm, or the ball joint shoulder, upper bicep rotation, single jointed elbows, wrist rotates 360. He's got the ab crunch and torso rotation. His hips rotate. He's got the ball joint thigh. He's got a thigh swivel, double jointed knees, foot rotates all the way around. It also goes down and back up, although it's very stiff. So in articulation, I'm actually going to give this guy an 8 out of 10 because they did use a great mold. They used the Ghost Rider mold, which has its pros and cons. I'll get to that in a minute as well. But his articulation is pretty advanced, so I've got really no complaints with the articulation. The cape does hinder articulation just a little bit. I mean, like when you try to move the arms back, of course you can't move them back because the cape's in the way, but it's really not a big deal. I mean, I don't really see why you would even need to pull Magneto's arms all the way back. So there it is, a 7 out of 10, or I'm sorry, an 8 out of 10 on articulation. Now, let me show you guys the big downside to using the Ghost Rider mold. So here's Ghost Rider, right? He's got the, if you look at his hands, he's got the hands that are sculpted to hold his accessory here, this real flimsy, gimmicky accessory. Or he can hold on to the bars of a motorcycle, which Hasbro didn't even include. But that's a different story. Don't even get me started with that. But his hands are sculpted, you know, to fit whatever Hasbro wanted the hands to fit. But so his hands are designed that way, and it works perfectly for Ghost Rider. But then they use the exact same hands for Magneto. You'll see that they're the exact same thing. They're sculpted the same way. And that's the downside to using the same mold on Magneto, because these hands don't fit Magneto's character, if you know what I mean. Magneto has always got to have his hands open because that's how he manipulates the metal, you know, according to his powers. And these hands, you know, they don't fit his character. They're not appropriate for Magneto, not true to the character. So that's where it really gets disappointing. I mean, Hasbro just got lazy here. I don't see why they could have just, you know, sculpted him a new pair of hands, open palms, or maybe they could have even reused some palms from another figure. But just real lazy job by Hasbro on the hands. Just really disappointing, and it's really hard, in all honesty, it's really hard to find a good pose for Magneto when his hands are closing like that, because I mean, it's just not like Magneto to have the closing hands like that. But that's my gripe with the hands. Now we'll move Ghost Rider out of the way, and then the next problem I have with him is the cape. The cape is real ugly, and they did use this cape with the Magneto, the classic Magneto that came in the Secret Wars 2-pack. They used the same cape with that one, and it's real ugly. I mean, normally you would have a cape that would start off narrow at the shoulders and then expands as you go down, but for some reason this one's really baggy at the up here around the shoulders, really baggy, and then it narrows out as you go down. Kind of doesn't make sense. And then to make matters worse, it's even got a crease here as if the cape was folding. And yeah, I understand maybe the wind was bending it, but it's not a good look. It looks ugly when you put it on a figure. It looks just really disgusting. So just a really ugly cape. I wish they would just sculpt a new one, or I bet they could have even reused one, maybe like the Doctor Strange one. That might have worked. Just do a little bit of trimming. They could have definitely done something different, but again, I think they just got lazy, thought they could make a quick buck on Magneto. So with that said, final score on this guy is going to be a 6 out of 10. Now I gave his paint apps a 6 out of 10 because of his ugly face. Just his face is too ugly. I don't even want to look at it. There you go. So his ugly face earned him a 6 out of 10 on paint apps. Then his articulation, not bad at all. They actually used a very good mold. The Ghost Rider mold is a kick-ass mold with great articulation, so 8 out of 10 on articulation. But then I also took into consideration how the hands aren't appropriate for Magneto and how the cape just looks really, really ugly. So that's going to be a 6 out of 10 for the final score. Now, I can't really tell you guys whether I recommend it or not, because it's just simply such a I'm sorry, he looks ridiculous, even more ridiculous that way. But I can't really tell you guys whether I recommend it or not. I mean, it's a really tough decision, and it's really up to you. I mean, some people, like I said, some people have a huge problem with his face being with the shading on his face. Some people don't. So you as the viewer, if you don't have this figure yet, you take into consideration what I said, and you decide for yourself whether that would be a problem, whether this figure would be a problem for you, or if it wouldn't. But I mean, for me, it's not a great figure, and quite honestly, it's a disappointment, because when we saw this figure at the San Diego Comic-Con, I believe it was 2011, he didn't look that bad. I mean, you could see he still had the weak hands and the weak cape, but his face didn't look bad at all. He had the standard flesh tone. His face sculpt didn't look bad at all. But then we find this guy in stores, and they've added the shading, so it is disappointing for me. It's a big letdown. not completely terrible. I mean, it's cool to have Magneto, and I think this is way better than Magneto than the other classic Magneto from the Secret Wars 2-pack. So not a terrible figure, but I just don't like it very much. Not my favorite. But there you go with that. For a quick size comparison, there's Magneto next to Colossus and World War Hulk. So that's how he measures up against the a few other characters in the line. Now, really quick, I want to have you guys vote on which figure you want me to review next. You guys can have me, or you guys can vote on whether you would like me to review Colossus, Ghost Rider, or World War Hulk. For now, I thought those would be perfect choices for a little poll, voting poll on which review you guys want me to do next. So to vote, just comment on this video. I'll be counting up the votes. The voting starts on Sunday, February 5th, and will go through Friday, February 10th. So you guys have got about 5 days to vote on which figure you guys want me to review next. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. Please vote. I will have, you guys can just comment on the video, like I said, and I also have a poll up on the Marvel Universe Toyline Facebook page. If you haven't joined our Facebook page, please do. I mean, it's a really awesome page with tons of stuff on the Marvel Universe figures. So I'll have a voting poll up there as well. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I've got tons of other awesome reviews coming up, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.